Hello and welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I'm your host, as always, the mouth of Michigan, Rob Menega. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
I made it.
You made it. He's here.
I'm not late.
He's got a fresh haircut. He's looking good. He's looking spiffy. Missing, of course, once again, the whale man, Kyle Budzinowski, but, whatever. We got a lot to go over this week, Mike. A lot of stuff really hit home this week. We got John Beilein resigning as the Cleveland Cavaliers coach just several months into a 5-year contract, so he's gone. We've got the Pistons buyout central going on. Reggie Jackson, he got bought out. Drummond's out of town. Markieff Morris got bought out. Lots of stuff going on there with the Pistons. And then later on the show, we got the Lions news. We got some cuts. We got some re-signings. We have another Merc Zone mock draft, like always, the number one segment on the show. And then we're going to close the show by not only previewing the upcoming AEW Revolution pay-per-view, but also we're going to review the NXT TakeOver event that happened last Sunday. So we got a lot of stuff to go over, Mike. A lot of stuff that really has, it's all kind of somewhat central around the state of Michigan for whatever reason. A lot of big Detroit sports news. So let's just jump right in. John Beilein resigns just a couple months into a 5-year deal. They're like 14 and 40 or something like that, right at the time of his resignation. He had some issues. He had that whole slug thug controversy thing. Had some people complaining about his coaching style. We talked originally when he left Michigan to take the Cavs job that we thought this may be a good fit because they're one of the youngest teams in the NBA, had a lot of draft capital. We thought maybe this would be a team that could very easily kind of grow pretty quickly under him. He's a great teacher, a great guy. He's known for both his offense, but then the last couple of years has been known for his defense. So, thoughts on John Beilein resigning as the head coach, and what do you think his future is going forward? I mean, he's almost 70, so.
Yeah, it was a shocking move because I thought he would want to stay there and help develop the team more. Yeah. But also on the flip side of things, I go, the Cavs are not a place. It's kind of like New York Knicks. It's not really a place that's very helpful, and especially when you get Drummond coming there, and Drummond's like, yeah, this is awful. Yeah. And when you get a good player that says it's awful, that means you're just like, I'm just kind of, I don't really want to be here anymore. Yeah. And then he resigns, and he's probably going to go back to college or retire.
I mean, he took another job within the organization, which is just a fancy word to say he's going to sit there. But, I mean, how much blame do you put on this? We've had kind of conflicting reports. I know Charles Barkley came out and said that, shame on the Cavs players for not embracing the new style. Like, you're terrible, so I don't know why you guys are complaining, And then you got other people saying that he kind of, he tried running it too much like a college team. He's another coach, too. You talk about current college coaches or past ones that have had great success at the college level. Rick Pitino. You name guys, Coach Calipari, he was in Boston, can't coach for a second there. You've got guys that have made the jump to the pros, had a really rough stint, and went right back to college and were successful all over again. Does he fall in that category for you, or do you think that this situation, no matter who the coach was a dumpster fire?
Well, I think whoever was going to go there was a dumpster fire, no matter what. Yeah. But I think the NBA is so star-driven, and Beilein's more of a everyone is an equal almost. Yes, and I think that's really where, especially when you get a guy like Drummond coming in, and he's like, I think I'm the best player on the team. Yeah. And Beilein's like, no, you're with everybody else. You guys are very good players, or whatever. I think it's so conflicting and everything. Yeah. And then.
Do you think if they would have had any sort of modicum of success, maybe not 500, but weren't as bad as they are, do you think that could have masked any of that, or do you think that maybe he lasts a season, but I don't think he would have ever seen the end of the 5-year contract.
No, I don't think he would have seen the whole 5 years ever.
Yeah,
I think they're too bad, and I don't think he's the right person to fix that program. Right. They need someone who's willing to sit there for that 3 years and not even develop, just get guys there.
I feel like they need a guy who's just like a veteran NBA presence that everybody kind of likes, like a Mike Brown or a Byron Scott, a guy who's just like everybody respects him. He's never won jack squat, but everybody just likes the guy, and he's an NBA head coach. Just to sit there and go, all right, your job is to sit here and wait for us to get a better roster, and then you'll be fired, and we'll bring in a new guy.
Jason Kidd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, hey, we're just gonna have, because you have respect within the NBA. We're gonna have you run this team, but in reality,
I think Beeline
Fisher.
Beeline might have been better being that coach after.
Yes,
having a coach.
Right. Yeah, like if
you have like 4 or 5 guys like if he was on the Pelicans or something, I think he would strive very well,
right?
Because you have that young core talent. Then all you gotta do is you develop them and teach them really how to play the game at a high level,
right?
And then they can be successful. Yeah. But you don't even have those guys yet in Cleveland to like start building the pieces yet. So I don't think he's a great team builder. I think he's a good coach.
And I think that's the thing, and I think it's difficult to go into a situation knowing you're not going to be very good. Your cap situation is terrible. It just got worse because you just brought Drummond on. So you have a lot of money in your front court, and there's just a lot of problems with that organization right now. So do you think that he tries to coach in the NCAA again, or do you think? I don't think he tries to get into the NBA coaching job. I don't think that's in the cards.
I don't think there's anyone that would really want him after seeing what he did in Cleveland. I don't think there's anyone that's like Beeline's the guy for us.
Yeah.
So I think if he does go back to college, I don't even think he'd go. I guess I'd just say he retires.
Yeah.
He is like 70.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like a good
I like to see him come back to Michigan to be like a consultant or something.
That would be awesome.
Like kind of what the Jerry Buss is doing for the Clippers. You know what I mean? Where he's like a finance or like an advisor to the team kind of thing. Where he's just kind of like an assistant to the AD, where he's just like, I'll just help you run basketball and let Juwan do his thing.
Yeah.
But,
well, I've always thought that Juwan's a great recruiter.
Yeah.
And if you had like Juwan recruiting with Beeline's coaching,
Yeah.
I think Michigan would be almost unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Beeline did come back to Michigan and then even help with just like fundamentals or whatever he did for Michigan to help coach that a little bit.
Like a special, he's not on the staff, but
he's
a special
advisor to help oversee what Howard's doing. But then Howard can bring in these 5-star guys. Mm-hmm. I think Michigan could be one of those like Kentucky Duke teams soon.
Right. Yeah.
If that's going to be the case.
Here's hoping, right? I can only hope for
We can definitely hope.
All right, let's shift now from Beeline. Let's talk Pistons here a little bit. Reggie Jackson gets bought out. Is he officially a Clipper? He's officially
he played his first game on Friday.
Okay, so he's a Clipper now. He's going to make a championship run. They just bought out Markieff Morris as well.
He's signing with the Lakers.
He's signing with the Lakers, of course. So LA team's just like, no, just come on,
take
give all the scraps. They're waiting for D Rose to kind of come out so they can cut Rondos.
Yes, that is what they're doing. They're trying to slowly just take away minutes from him too. And it was like, wait, aren't I supposed to go out? He's like, no.
No. You sit down. Spray with a water bottle or something like that. But so 2 veteran presence, right? Obviously, we talked about the Andre Drummond trade last week, right? He's gone. Markieff Morris, he was only here on a 1-year +1 option or deal anyway. He obviously not a long-term fixture of the team regardless. Reggie Jackson was on the last year of his deal, so they cleared that space as well. Thoughts on them buying out, more importantly, Reggie than Markieff just got here, so that's not really the...
Yeah.
But Reggie's been here for 5.5 years, so thoughts on him getting bought out? Was it the right move, or do you think they should just let him play it out, or are you happy that he's going to go get a chance to win a ring?
I don't think it's... Since he's leaving after this year, I don't think it was very imperative that he left.
Right.
Like, it was like, you didn't have to buy him out, but now that you did buy him out, now you're not required to start him.
Right.
Which now you can start whether D Rose or Tim Frazier or whoever, point guard, or Derek Walton or whatever. Like, you have all these other point guards that you're trying to test out. Because now you're in the part of the season where you're playing meaningful games, but you're also just testing things out.
Right.
Like, you're playing regular season.
You're playing meaningful games in the sense that you want to see your young guys play well, but you still want to lose by 2.
Yes, exactly. Where like it's like in the NFL season when you're like out of it, you're like, all right, now we're gonna put all of our rookies in.
Right. Because
like they're regular season games that matter, but like you're not gonna do anything. The Pistons aren't gonna make a playoff run now.
No.
So at that point now you can have Sekou playing big minutes now.
Right.
You can have Tim Frazier and Derek Walton playing and Luke Kennard starting. You can have all these guys, your pieces, start playing, getting better and start developing and practicing a little more.
Right.
And with Reggie there, that's just taking a slot away from somebody.
For sure. Thoughts on Reggie as a Piston, right? When you first got brought over from Oklahoma City, everybody thought, wow, this could be like our point guard of the future. Like this, young guy, he's, the 6th man for Oklahoma, a good Oklahoma City team, right? Couldn't get enough minutes because Westbrook's a machine. He comes here, his first year and a half, I thought he played really well, for us. He gets that max contract. That's when stuff. I never felt he was ever truly 100% healthy a good majority of the time he was here, which I think hindered him. We made a couple of playoff runs with him. I guess if you can say that, getting swept both times. But regardless, thoughts on his tenure as a Piston. I mean, is it something that you thought, looking back on it, you're like, all right, it was worth the risk of bringing him here, or was it just a total waste of time and we wasted $80 billion?
I don't think it was a waste because you did get to the playoffs twice, and you can argue if you get there with or without him, but having a good point guard always helps you get there. Even though you got swept both times, you still got there. That's one of those things where it's like, at least you can get there. He was very good for us for, I would say, about 2 years. I think these last 3 years he was in and out with injuries.
The injuries really zapped him.
I think when he was playing, I think he was, besides some late game stuff in playoff games, where he would want to be more ball dominant, you really shouldn't be the guy in some of those instances. But besides those points, I think he was just very consistent over the regular seasons that he did play when he was healthy. So thanks for being a Piston, and I hope you're healthy and go forward. I hope you lose to the Lakers in the conference championship game.
It's weird to think that just a couple of years ago, right, we had, we got Reggie, we got Drummond, that's going to be the combination, of the pick and rolls, and that's going to be the foundation for the future, and within a matter of 2 weeks, they're both gone. You know what I mean? Let's talk here just for a second about the where this team is at now, right? Clearly, they've embraced the tank, right? They knew going in, all right, D-Rose is in that lineup. Blake's out the whole year. Kennard's probably not going to play much the rest of the season, right? We don't want to keep Drummond. We don't want to do these things. We want to get out of this salary cap hell that we're in, and they've done that, right? To their credit, they've allowed themselves, even if they don't go get anybody next year, which I kind of hope they don't, I hope they wait for the 2021 free agency class where, Giannis and Bron and all those LeBron. I mean, LeBron's not coming to Detroit, obviously, but the point being is that if you have the money to do it, at least you can be in those conversations. But, they've embraced the tank. Are you happy to see that? Are you finally happy to see that, okay, we have a direction. They kind of have a plan, clearly, right? They're taking out all these veterans. They're saying, all right, every young guy we have, we're going to put out there, see what we got, and we're going to try to be as good, bad as possible in order to get the highest draft pick possible, in order to hopefully land a star, a true star.
Well, that's what I've been hoping they would do for the last 3 years.
Right, and then
finally committed to it. Where I think and it all comes down to they can look at their talent and go, this is who we need, this is who we don't need. So I don't think they're very good at that. You keep guys too long that you don't need, and you get rid of guys that you might need later. But I do think that if, say, hypothetically, Christian Wood's great, and he can be your starting 4 or 5, and you got Luke Kennard, who's a very solid shooter at 2, and Sekou really develops into something. You have some of these core pieces. Hopefully you can tank.
Young guys,
These young guys, you can tank again. You can maybe get a high lottery pick the next 2 years. Then in that 2021 free agency, you can really sell the fact that you go, we have Sekou, we have Kennard who can shoot, we have a point guard,
whoever they draft.
And we have Christian Wood, who's a very good big. All we need is Jimmy Butler.
Gordon Hayward.
Whatever. We need you to be the focal center star of the team. You have all these
Blake's on his way out. We're waiting for that to end, right? Because they ain't going.
But that's going to end going into that 2021 season too. Because he only has that 2 years left. So then you can go, we have all this money, we will give you a max, we'll give you what, we just need you as the star. And I think you could really sell. There's no one like LeBron or Giannis will probably come here, but I think you can sell it to a Jimmy Butler, Gordon Hayward, those guys where you can go, I need you to be the star for a year or two. To just come here and be that guy.
And I think too, you look at every Piston team that's ever been any sort of successful, right? Outside of Isaiah, you've never really had a true wow, he is a star. A true perennial star. Chauncey was really good. Big Ben was really good, right? Mahorn had years where he was phenomenal, but they never had a LeBron or a Jordan or a Kawhi. They never had that guy. It was a collection of 5 to 8 guys that you could swap interchangeably and go. It was a solid team. You know what I mean? They're legitimately the only franchise, and when you look back at it now, where you go, outside maybe that Dallas team that beat the Heat, where you go, they didn't like have like a true because Dirk at that point was kind of at the tail end of his career, you know what I mean? So I felt like they didn't they're the only team in history in the past, I don't know, 20 years where you go, yeah, they were all good together. Individually, they were fine, but they were great together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. You know, I mean, what are their chances right now? Do you think that, do we get lucky and get a top 3 pick, or are we? I think last thing I saw we're like at number 7.
Yeah, so we would at this point we would have 5 balls in the tumbling thing. Mm-hmm. So statistically those aren't very good odds, I guess. Like it's 5 and what I think like 100 balls get put in, so like a 5 and 100 shot to gain the number 1 pick or whatever it would be. But at that point, at least the worse you can get, the more balls you can get, which means the higher pick you can get. Maybe you can get lucky and be like the Lakers, where you get 2 balls put in and you're the number 4 pick because one of them gets drawn to number 4.
Right.
Like, right. I mean, it's all.
Or be like the Magic that year that they drafted Shaq one year and then they drafted Chris Webber the next, and then they traded him to get Penny Hardaway. So stuff like that obviously can happen. It's never happened for Detroit, but
not really.
Boy, do I wish it would. But yeah, I'm glad to see that. I feel like there's a direction. You know, I felt like for the longest time we've kind of just been sitting at this being an average basketball team where you're not making a run. You may make the playoffs, but that's about it.
Well, that was been my problem with the Pistons is you're just staying stagnant.
Yeah, you're in purgatory.
You're in purgatory. Yeah. And I'm like, I either want to see you like tank for 2 years and beat the Sixers and then get really good, or go do something. Or go do something. Yeah, right. Go make some trades and like trade Reggie and Drummond and get a big name guy here so you can like do something. Like you gotta do something. Right. If you just stay here, you're gonna be 500 for 10 years and always be a first round exit.
Exactly. And we've had previous regimes too, like the Blake Griffin trade and stuff, where you sign guys thinking, okay, maybe this will kind of put us over. In reality, it puts you over to being an 8 seed. It doesn't get you enough to where you thought, okay, the amount that you gave up is not nearly the amount that you needed to get where you need to go, obviously. So, all right, after the break, we're going to be talking a lot of Lions news here, some cuts, some re-signings. We got a Merc Zone mock draft, my favorite part of the show, and then we're going to talk AEW Revolution. We're going to preview that card, and we're going to review NXT Takeover. What was it? Portland. There we go. Sure, I can't remember the cities. The same 7 over and over and over again. All that after the break. Stick around. Hello, welcome back to the second part of episode 64, 65. I think we're on 65 now.
You keep track of that.
I know, I do. I forget literally every week. I go back and when I edit the show and everything, I go, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
We're on that one.
Yeah, we're on that one, right? All right, let's just jump right into Lions news. You know, I feel like we haven't really touched on the Lions a ton. We always do the mock draft, obviously, but current state of the roster, you know, we've been talking about how big of an offseason this is, and I really can't stress that enough of how big this offseason is. I feel like every offseason's big, but for whatever reason, you know, we're less than a month away from free agency kicking off, right? Mm-hmm. We're a couple months away. The combine is starting here pretty soon. We've got a lot of different stuff happening. You know, you got trade talks coming about. But I want to talk about some of the recent transactions the Lions have made. Let's start off with Damon Snacks Harrison, right? We talked about him at the end of the regular season while he thought maybe this would be his last year. Turns out it's not going to be his last year, but it ain't going to be with Detroit. They've officially released him. About a $5 million dead cap hit, but they're also going to save about $6.7 million on the salary cap this year. So, you've created a little more cap space. However, now you've got a gaping hole in that defensive line now. You don't have Mike Daniels re-signed yet. I don't know if he's coming back yet. You've got Romeo Aquara, you got Deshaun Hand, and you got Trey Flowers, and that's about it right now. Mike, your thoughts on the Lions mutually agreeing to part ways with Snacks?
I didn't really mind because I think he was kind of getting to that point where he was getting a little more injury prone, and he wasn't being as productive as he was when we originally got him. Yeah. So I think it was kind of that time to kind of slowly let him go. I didn't think we were going to actually let him go this year, but that we did. I don't hate the move, but I also don't love the move because we don't really have anyone set in stone behind him.
Right, exactly. Now, with that being said, right, like I said, the defensive line now, it once again becomes another position of need for this team, right? You need another pass rusher. You need another corner, if not two. You need help on the defensive side of the ball desperately right now. And your mind, looking at the three, whether it's the secondary, whether it's the linebacking crew, or it's the defensive line, with Snacks gone now, does that put defensive line for you as top priority? Maybe not in the draft per se, but just in general, like they need to go sign a new defensive tackle, like desperately in the first couple days of free agency.
Well, yes, because I think D-line's the only one you actually need immediately.
Yeah.
I think defensive backs, if you have Slade there, I think your safeties are fine, and with Slade there and Coleman, you only need one corner, which you can find in a mid-draft pick maybe.
And you have Warrior.
And you have your Warrior, and you have a couple guys that are there, so you can use
Yeah.
if need be. And your linebacking crew, you don't really need another one, but it'd be nice to maybe upgrade. If you got like an Isaiah Simmons, like just to upgrade one of those positions.
Yeah.
But you don't really need another one.
Yes.
Defensive line, I think you don't even have a
You don't have bodies right now.
Yeah, you just don't have the bodies to be there, so you just need to get a few bodies at least. I think you could roll with Trey Flowers, Sean Hand, Romeo Alcaro. Like, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think you just need a more of a rotation because you can't just go with those three guys.
Right. Now I know some people were kind of upset that they let Snacks go. I do think that with A'Shawn not being signed, they do have that defensive tackle / end from Clemson that they drafted too in the 4th round last year. Austin Bryant. There you go. Thank you. But at the same time, what they need from Snacks, I don't think he was given them last year, right?
Yeah.
When he got brought over from New York, you immediately saw an uptick in the run defense, like immediately. Like it all of a sudden was like, holy crap, we can stop the run. And then this year, him not being 100%, right? The D line, it really felt like the D line going into last season was a strength, and then injuries hit him hard, and all of a sudden it was like none of that panned out the way we had all hoped. I do think it's a big hole that we're going to need to fill pretty quickly here. The defensive tackle, I think his last name is Redding from the Texans. I think has been somebody that's been mentioned that the Lions should desperately go after a young guy who would kind of fill that role. You're not looking for an Ndamukong Suh type guy. I think people sometimes see defensive tackle, especially in Detroit, and they immediately go to Suh because he was the best defensive tackle we've ever had. Yeah. But in this defense, that's not really what we're after. We're after a Vince Wilfork type of guy. That's why a guy like Danny Shelton, I would not be surprised if they signed, in the later parts of free agency, just because he's a big dude, covers both A gaps, you know what I mean? He's headed up on the center every play, and he's trying to, just plug holes. That kind of guy is more what they're after, I think. Historically, and what New England's done and now what we've done is have a big body in the middle of that defense, right? I don't think A'Shawn gets brought back because I don't think he stops the run very well, and I don't think he rushes the passer very well. So if you don't do either one of those well for me, I don't know where you're going to be at. Now let's talk about the big re-signing. I guess you can call it big. Danny Amendola gets re-signed to a 1-year deal, right? Actually played pretty well in the slot for them. I think he had around 65 catches for around 700 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns. Kind of what your slot guy does for the most part. Obviously great leader in the locker room, knows what they are trying to accomplish from his days in New England. Good locker room voice. Was kind of developing some chemistry with Stafford there, before Stafford went down. Thoughts on Amendola coming back, for year 13?
I think it's good because I think he plays the slot well, and it also is. Now you don't need a receiver.
Yeah.
Like you don't need.
I still think they need to draft his replacement this year.
Well, yes, but I also agree that you could either do it this year, but now that you have him, you could also look at next year.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're like, we need an offensive lineman, you don't need a wide receiver.
Right.
Because I also think Marvin Hall in the slot is very good too.
Yeah.
The rookie kid or whatever that played last year a little bit, he's also very good too. So I think you could also maybe use him a little bit. So I don't think that's really a position of need anymore. Do you want to upgrade that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Marvin's probably going to leave, and you're going to have to re-sign Galladay, and Amendola will probably leave. So you're going to lose 2 probably next year.
Right.
But as of this second, I think you're good going into this season.
Right.
Especially because this season is a, make the playoff or be very good or you're fired season, you really need to make sure that receiving core is set in stone.
Absolutely right. I'm still very much, especially with the depth of wide receiver in this draft, I think they could easily find one third, fourth round, and you can do that, you know what I mean, and address some needs. I am so freaking excited. We have to do a couple weeks from now. We got to do a free agency preview. We got to get it out there because to say that I am so hyped for free agency is redundant. I know you're just like, yeah, it's whatever, but it's really I am so excited. I love the best part of the year for me is this and the draft because it's like all the different pieces. You know, it's kind of like when the new Madden comes out and you're like, oh, I get to see the new team and like, you know, everything else. That's in my mind is how I'm playing now. It's extremely, extremely exciting for me to see how people's, you know, perceptions of the draft change after free agency, right? Because that's a big thing. Quick question here before we go to the mock draft, though. How worried are you that this new CBA deal doesn't get done?
How worried am I that it doesn't get done?
That it doesn't get done, that we're going to a lockout after next season.
I would be a little worried because the players hate it.
Yeah.
And the players hate it.
All the big name players, at least, like J.J. Watt
and all them hate it. I actually, like, as a consumer, big fan.
Yeah.
I don't even know about expanding this regular season, but I think adding another playoff team on each side just makes the regular season feel even that much more important because now you're fighting for the 1 seed. It's not like, oh, be the top 2.
Right.
Now you have to be the number 1 or you don't get that bye.
Right.
And not a lot of the matchups change. Like when you looked at it, like the 7th seed gets added, and then the number 2 just plays the number 7, which more likely than not the number 2 will win that game anyway. Right. But and basically gets a bye.
Yeah.
But I just think it's more playoff football, and it's just a lot more. And
I think
effort.
I do think it sets up possible upsets. This year I think is a big catalyst for the owners that want that extension in the playoffs. It's like, hey. We had Tennessee versus Kansas City in the AC Championship game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where no New England, no Baltimore. You had these two guys. Yeah. Go at it. We had some big upsets. In this. So I think. It's interesting to see. I'm very intrigued to see if they can get it done before the new league year starts. That's definitely something that we need to monitor as time goes on.
I think the vote is on Tuesday.
Is it to actually go for it? I know the owners voted to delay it this last week. I think they have a vote to kind of say, all right, do we propose this to Players Association?
I heard something about Tuesday. Next Tuesday it's going to
be happening. So there's some. I think it's more about the revenue sharing as well as increased cap. Because you're putting extra games out there. The players want to be compensated for those extra games, which I don't necessarily blame them either. There's some good stuff. We'll talk about that another time, especially if we do go into a possible lockout situation. But all right, let's just jump right into to another edition of the Merc Zone Mock Draft. It's my favorite part of every show. It just gets me more excited for the future and next season. We've got the XFL, which has really kept calming my nerves a little bit, especially since I think we chose right with our team.
I think we did. I think we chose very well. Yeah, I think we chose Houston. I think we'd be like on top of the world.
Actually, you know what though? I'm glad we didn't because I think our Battlehawks can beat them. I do too. I think of all the teams, I think we have the highest possible ceiling. We have the youngest quarterback and everything. I think
if this is like a prolonged league, I think I think that Houston guy gets picked up by someone in the NFL, but no one's like Jordan Tom, no one's gonna pick him up.
Yeah, right. I'm very interested to see where it goes. Anyway. Sorry, a little bit XFL extra for you guys, but it gets exciting. Honestly, it's just making me really I'm like, all right, I'm ready for our football season to start back up again. All right, so let's go to the mock draft. Who's this mock draft by? When was it published? All that good jazz.
So this one is from NFL.com by Chad Reuter, Draft Analysis, and it was updated February 21st at 6:54 p.m.
Okay, a couple days ago. Okay.
We have exact timing on this.
Exact timing.
Now there are possible trades, so when you're guessing, you can guess with trades.
Oh boy. Okay. Does it say compensation?
Yes, it does.
Oh wow.
I have exact compensation for everything that's happening.
All right, he went full on.
It's only 3 rounds.
Okay.
So
first pick, Joe Burrow.
Yep, to Bengals, that doesn't change. Okay. And Chase Young to the Washington does not change.
Does not change. Okay, that was going to be my first question, is that theoretically, we've talked about this already, but Chase Young obviously dropping down to 3rd for Detroit, that would be an ideal situation. All right, so I'm going to say that we trade out a 3 with Miami and swap picks there. Is that what's happening?
That is what's happening.
Fantastic.
And it says that the line Lions will receive their number 26 pick,
Okay.
their second round pick, and an early 2021 pick.
Damn, I'd be thrilled with that. So you said their first pick, so 26.
So we're getting
second round pick.
Yeah, so we get number 5.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting number 26.
Yep.
And we're getting their second round, which is like
that is ideal.
Like 50-something.
That is ideal right there, guys. Now that is probably one of the better scenarios, right? And in early 2021, right? Even if that's a third, right?
Yeah.
This is a big deal because, and here's why. If you are Bob Quinn and you are Matt Patricia, right? You need as much ammunition at the top of this draft as possible. So to have 4 picks within the first 60 is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Is absolutely ginormous for you. I cannot stress that enough. Having 2 high second round picks, right? Being able to do that and being able to kind of get 3 to 4 positions of need is extremely invaluable. That's why you could say you take Okuda in the first, right? Second round you take an offensive lineman. Third round you can still take in the second round, or first round you can take a wide receiver, or second round there's so many different variables there at that point. You can possibly get Jeff Okuda and get that defensive end from Iowa in the same round. You've addressed 2 positions of need now in a matter of 20 picks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So extremely interesting that. So 3, let's just jump back into the draft here. We don't give up any other picks, right? We just give up number 3. The Lions.
Yeah, we're just giving
up 3. Okay, so Miami trades up then, gets Tua. Yes. Okay, so
now we're
Tua.
saying at number 4.
Yep.
And what happens with the
Giants? I'm gonna say they go offensive line and they take the guy. What was it? Jonah Williams out of Alabama.
See, this one might shock you. So now the Chargers trade up with the Giants.
Oh, interesting.
So the Giants will receive a 3rd round pick and a 2021 second round pick to go down to 6. Wow. And the Chargers go up to number 4 to get Justin Herbert.
Okay, so that's interesting. So that must mean that for whatever reason they think that Detroit is still interested, or they were afraid that Carolina might try to jump them and switch with the Giants. Yeah, that would be the 2 things for me that kind of are red flags that would go there. That so either way works out great.
3 quarterbacks in the top 4 of this draft.
Doesn't shock me, honestly. It's what always happens.
And then number 5, the Lions will be up after their trade, and they will pick.
I'm gonna say they still can't get Okuda though.
They do still pick Okuda.
Yeah, right. And I think that's probably the best case scenario. You know, we've talked already, you know, somewhat ad nauseum about the Darius Slay stuff and what they could possibly get for him, right? I'm kind of starting, because nothing has progressed really. I'm almost kind of starting to lean a little bit like a 59 to 49% of like 51% thinking that they somehow get a deal done. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but it's just kind of like a gut feeling for me. But if they don't, and they trade him, then you desperately need to get a corner like now. So especially if you don't sign a big name in free agency like a Byron Jones. So Okuda, I like the pick, right? Yep. So 6 then is the Giants, right? Yep. Are they still taking offensive tackle then?
They take Mekhi Becton out of Louisville.
Out of Louisville, okay, yeah, right. There's 3, right? There's the one from Bama, there's one from Louisville, and I think there's one from Georgia too that I think have all kind of interchangeably. Yeah, okay.
So we're going to go down the Lions pick, but some notable names. So Derek Brown goes 7 to Carolina. Yep. CeeDee Lamb goes 11 to Denver. Okay. And Jerry Jeudy goes 12 to the Raiders.
Ooh. Where's Isaiah Simmons go?
Isaiah Simmons goes 9 to Jacksonville.
Dude, that's crazy to do that. How many linebackers do they got, man?
A lot.
Good
And
Lord.
Unfortunately for us, AJ Epinesa will go 14 to Tampa Bay. So he won't be available.
Oh, okay.
The Iowa guy.
Okay.
So he won't be available when we're picking later.
And I'm guessing that's assuming that Lawson leaves Tampa. That's what I feel like is that he's going to go get paid somewhere else. So they go draft another.
So now
rusher.
We have the number 26 pick from the Dolphins.
All right.
Where do you think we go with the 26 overall pick?
Here's the thing now. So now you're once again you're in the back half of the first round. You've got another pick coming up really quickly in the beginning of the second. You're kind of at this point almost like best player available in a lot of sense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do I think they could go offensive line here? Yes. Do I really kind of want to go wide receiver just a little bit? Yes. Just based off what I'm seeing. So I'm going to say wide receiver, and I'm going to say it's Ruggs out of Bama.
Actually, you were right with the position.
Really?
I didn't tell you. Ruggs went like 4 picks earlier.
Oh, he did? Okay. Because I just know he's fast as hell.
But they do pick T. Higgins out of Clemson.
All right, I ain't mad about that. And the slides. And here's the thing, guys, and I think here's what people need to realize, too. You may not think wide receiver's a need, but Amendola's back on a 1-year deal, right? Marvin Jones could theoretically be a cap guy where they cut, right? Just a thought. Galladay's going to get paid, or at least he better get paid. After that, name another, maybe Marvin Hall, right? Maybe he is something. But after that, you got a whole bunch of nothing behind those guys at wide receiver. We saw that in the last couple games. Marvin wasn't in. Galladay was in our lineup. Amendola wasn't there all the time. You didn't have anything. So you need to go get a guy. You need more playmakers. End of the day, that's what you need. Playmakers. So I'm not mad about that. All right, who are the guys right around that, though, on the defensive side of the ball who go around that same time
frame?
About
the late first round?
Yeah, late first round pick. Anybody else in there that's...
So we have a... Let me go check real quick. So Trevon Diggs, corner, goes right before, but that would be... Uter Gross Matos, the Penn State edge rusher, goes 2 picks later to Baltimore.
Okay.
And Patrick Queen, linebacker from LSU, goes 30 to the Packers.
Did Grant Delpit go yet?
He goes to 31 to the 49ers.
Okay, see, that's a guy, too, that I wouldn't be shocked to see them go. I know safety doesn't look like a position to need, but once again, guys, Will Harris, he's a 3rd-round pick, but, Tracy Walker and then Tavon Wilson's, he could be coming back, but another playmaker, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is a playmaker. All right, let's go to the second round.
Second round, so we're going to go early second round.
Yeah.
We have pick number 35.
I think they go offensive lineman here, and I don't have a guy, so I'm going to say that Quisenberry guy. I think that's your offensive lineman.
You're actually on the wrong side of the ball.
Damn.
They go edge rusher.
Okay.
They will pick Zach Bond out of Wisconsin.
Okay,
He's a senior redshirt.
Yes, I got nothing on that. But once again, though, another position of need, right? If they make that trade, I'm not going to be mad. I'm really not going to be mad. Especially if we throw in the variable that possibly Slay is not a Lion and they say they get a number 2. Now you have 3 second-round picks in this scenario. It ain't bad, guys. It ain't bad.
So pick number 39 goes to the Dolphins. They pick Jonathan Taylor later in the draft.
Okay.
And I have one more.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. Oh, the Bucks take J.K. Dobbins at 45.
Damn.
Right before our pick.
Oh.
So we're picking number 56.
Okay.
That was the other one that we got from the Dolphins. Right. Where do you think they go here?
Is Antoine Winfield Jr. still available, or is he gone?
He's still
there. I'm going to say that's the pick.
You were exactly dead on
What are the odds of that one? I got a late second round.
He gets picked late second round.
Yeah, that doesn't show. Once again, safety, right? Playmaking kind of guy, right? You need more playmakers on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. At the end of the day, that's what you've done right here. You went and got, all right, besides the defensive end, I don't know a ton about him. I'm not going to lie and say that I do. But regardless, you get Okuda, right? He's your starting man-to-man press corner of the future, right? You go get a playmaking wide receiver that can be your number 4 at the beginning and will probably wind up being your number 2, right? Then you go get an edge rusher that you think probably fits your scheme for whatever reason, right? You can probably take Akwara's spot and make Akwara a rotational DN that you prefer him to be instead of a starter. And then you go get a playmaking safety in the secondary. So you refurbish your secondary, you refurbish your defensive line a little bit, and then you've also get a playmaking wide receiver, all in 4 picks, and you drop down 2 spots, and still got the same guy you probably would have taken at 3. That's the outlook there.
Yep, and just so you know, the early 3rd round pick that they pick is Solomon Kinley, offensive guard out of Georgia.
Love it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. If that's the way it breaks down like that, I don't know about that second round pick, the Wisconsin guy. I don't know enough about him to be like yay or nay. But outside of that, I love it. That's a great draft. Once again, high third round pick. He slides right in, especially if you don't re-sign Glasgow and you don't re-sign Kenny Wiggins. You got Joe Dahl, you got him. I love it. That's a great draft. That's a great find, by the way. I like that one. You got me excited. I'm ready for the draft too, man.
Next week I'll just get you one. That's
I know that's where they draft Tua and all that other stuff. Yeah, we got to talk about that too because we've seen some analysts come out here and talking about taking Tua again, and it's pissing me off a little bit, but we'll talk about that maybe next week or so. But all right, let's jump right in now. Let's jump to the wrestling. We kind of been putting wrestling at the back half of these shows, so if you're a wrestling fan, thanks for sticking with us. If you're not a wrestling fan, that's okay. Maybe stick around and learn something. Let's talk NXT TakeOver first, right?
Yeah.
You know, new champion, new tag champs, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've got, Broserweights or whatever, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne win the tag titles from the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole retains over Ciampa after Gargano turns. And, of course, Keith Lee retains over Dijak, and Ripley retained over Bianca Belair, setting up the match with Mania. Best match on the card.
The tag match.
Really?
By far was the best match.
I was a little surprised by that.
Why?
Well, I thought you'd go Ciampa Cole, honestly.
No, because I didn't like the ending at all.
Right? No?
No, not at
Okay,
all.
well, alright, well, give me why you like the tag match, then let's talk Ciampa Cole.
I don't know, it's just one of their classic NXT tag matches.
Oh, yeah,
where you just have balls to the walls for like 25 minutes, and they do all their cool spots, and at the end, it was like everyone knew that Broserweights were going to win because it's like the storyline that they're telling right now.
Right.
But it was just a very good match.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was really well done. If they only problem I have is I don't like when two singles guys become a tag team and immediately win the tag titles. That's my only critique. Now, if they're going to be a team for the next 6-8 months, whatever, different story.
I imagine they will be.
But if they're not, I'm going to be kind of annoyed because I feel like they just put together two guys they thought could beat the Era to take the titles off them. Okay. All right, let's talk Ciampa Cole. The big stuff coming out of there, right? You know, I understand why you didn't like it, I think. Tell me why you didn't like the ending. Because I think I'm on the same wavelength with you, but I want to make sure.
Okay, so I like the first 28 minutes. So the match went like 34 minutes, right? The first 28 minutes, I had just about no problems with at all. I was like, this is a fantastic match. Now, going in, I know Cole's winning the match.
Right.
And I know they're going to screw him over.
Right.
I think the problem I have is for the past month and a half, you set up Ciampa as he's like a loner, but he has friends.
Right.
And it's like the Broserweights are kind of feuding. Velveteen just came back. So you have all these guys that are like hate the Era so much that they don't want any of them to win ever. So Ciampa's in this match, and the Arrow comes out, and they start interviewing, and not a single person comes to help him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, realistically, you could have still done it where they're starting to interfere.
And Gargano still turns.
And Gargano still turns. But you can have Velveteen and the Broserweights come out to attack and like help like even the odds before Gargano comes out to interfere.
Right.
I think that was my only gripe. It's not really a gripe with the match itself. I just like the storytelling of it where I go, and I think, where is everybody?
And I think what happens in that case, is they wanted to make Ciampa look as strong as possible.
Oh, yeah, by beating everybody. I agree.
Which I don't like, because then you make the Era, who's been your champions for the past year, look terrible, right?
Yes.
I'm agreeing with you. The only other thing I would say, too, I don't like when people kick out of each other's finishers after the second one. The first, if Ciampa hits me with that double arm, flat whatever thing he does, right?
Yeah.
He hits me with that, or Project Ciampa, and Cole kicks out, right?
Fine.
First time.
Yeah.
Fine. He hits me a second time, you better be dead.
Yeah.
Cole hits you with the last shot, and you kick out first time, I'm cool. The second time, no, you're done. Because Riddle didn't kick out, Pete Dunne didn't kick out, Balor didn't kick out, Gargano didn't kick. None of these guys kick out. But now Ciampa does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was another gripe. I agree with you, but I also didn't like the fact that it took us so much longer.
No, yeah.
To get to
I think the match was too long.
Yes,
I think
you could have cut it at 28 minutes.
Yeah.
And did everything you wanted to do and been fine.
Yeah. So that's why I don't put that match as the best. I think it's the second best match on the card.
Yeah.
I just think the tag match, like with no interference, just straight up tag match was better. Yep. That match was good for the first 28 minutes.
Yes.
Like I was invested.
Graded the show.
B minus.
B minus.
Because I did not like the women's finish. The main event finish.
I didn't either.
Because I was just like, it came out so far out of left field that I was like, what was that? The Keith Lee match was very good.
But once again, you knew what was happening. Dijak had no chance of winning. I didn't like that finish either, honestly.
Yeah, and that finish was okay. Yeah. The street fight was fine at best. And Gargano and
Balor, you knew
what was going to happen.
Right.
And it's a solid match, but at the same time,
it really felt like a setup pay-per-view to get us to the main.
It was the fast lane of NXT TakeOver to get to
you didn't need this show. You really didn't need this show, honestly.
You could have just put this on a big NXT.
Yep, you could have done it 2 weeks worth of NXT pay-per-view, and it would have been fine. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk AEW, though, real fast before we close the show. We are going to be there in Chicago, Mike. Look for us on camera. I think we're on the hard camera side, so I think that we'll actually be facing the camera.
Tickets,
I did. So, well, we are going to be there live and in living color, not in first row like I wanted to be because pre-sale sucks. But anyway, point being, we're going to be there, right, in Chicago, live, AEW Revolution, second ever pay-per-view they've ever done. Thoughts on the card so far? What are you looking forward to the most?
I am most looking forward to Cody and MJF the most. Like, I think it's by far.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the Moxley Inner Circle stuff, but I don't think it's... I feel like the match won't be very good.
I don't think it's going to be very good either. I think it's going to be a lot of interference. Jericho's going to retain, and it's just going to be like, okay.
Yeah, that just happened.
Yeah.
The tag match, I'm expecting some weird stuff and maybe a title change there if you're going to have one.
Yeah,
just because if Hangman might turn or something.
Yeah.
And then you have Dustin and JK are having his debut match, so you know who's probably going to win that one as a debut match. Right. And those are the only 4 matches you have announced as of... That's Sunday, the 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah.
Those are the only 4 matches you have. I'm assuming the Lucha Bros will be on the card somewhere, and the Dress Express.
There should be a women's
title match will be on there. That'll probably all be announced Wednesday. But as the card stands right now, I think it's Cody and MJF is so high, and everything else, I'm like, it'll be good because it's AEW and all their stuff's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be out of this world.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem once again, as we talked about this, where I think you have a lot of really good, long, overarching stuff, but then the intermediate stuff, you're just like, okay, well, what, you know what I mean? I don't need 12 matches on a pay-per-view. That kills it.
I'm cool if you have 8, just make 8 high-quality ones.
8's good. I need 8, though. I got 4 right now. And what it feels like is, okay, so say they give us another 4 matches on this show, right? Why do I care about those other 4 matches? Yeah. I've got no basis.
Yeah.
Even 3. If we take the women's title, they put the title online. I get that. But outside of that, what else do you have? Yeah. You've got a whole bunch of just other guys going out there and performing to a great level. Mm-hmm. But if there's no story behind it, and I don't give a crap about why they're out there, other than, wow, they had a really good match. It doesn't mean nothing, but they had a good match.
The only reason it's going to matter if they have Lucha Bros and someone for a #1 contendership or something.
Right. Exactly.
That's the only reason.
And, but that's cheap to me. I feel like, it's like, oh, well, they're going to put the title on the line. Yeah. But there's no personal... if you're going to put the title online, then it needs to be one of those things where no, I'm coming for the title, or we want to be #1 contenders for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So, I was kind of like, I honestly thought Lucha Bros were going to take the tag titles last.
I did too. I thought they were going to make a triple threat.
Yeah, I thought they were. I would legitimately.
Because then it makes it easier if you do a turn.
Yes.
That you can pin Kenny or something.
Exactly.
And retained in that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Right. Paige gets beat because of Kenny messes up, and then the next time when they tagged him again, going for the rematch, they turn, they do the whole shabazz. Yeah. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the show?
I'm like a 9 just to go there and experience the AEW show.
Yeah.
But if I was
first AEW show.
Yeah. But if I'm just sitting there watching this show right now, it's probably a 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a 1-match card for me right now. Cody and MJF are so far above everybody else that I'm like.
Right. Yeah,
the rest is kind of hard to be there for.
Right, absolutely, for sure. Plus, Mania's coming up and everything else. Yeah. There's just a lot of stuff happening right now in the wrestling world, for sure. All right, that is going to be it for episode 64, 65, whatever we're on. For the Missing Whaleman, for the Merc Zone, I'm the Mouth of Michigan, and we will see you guys, as always, next time.